Welcome back to this week's edition of In the Clubhouse with EMD Baseball. I'm Andy Kiriakis, joined by my lovely co-host, Coach Glasser. Coach, how we doing?
Great. How are you?
We fired up today?
Oh, very fired up.
I like it. I like it. Today's topic is body language and how you react to adversity. And I think this is an important one because, and we've harped on it in our episodes, but I think it deserves its own 10 minutes here. When coaches come to watch you play, they're usually there because you're good enough and they're there for a reason. How you act, how you present yourself, how you react to things not going your way is something that is very important in the evaluation process. And for high school kids who are looking to get recruited, if you have some behavioral stuff you need to clean up, you need to look in the mirror, you need to figure it out, because you don't want to be the guy who gets crossed off a list because every time something doesn't go your way, your body language goes bad and you don't react with any type of confidence. Because I think a lot of times that's what it is. It's confidence and it's immaturity. I'm not saying you need to be perfect all the time, but being demonstrative on the mound because you gave up a leadoff double is concerning, because if you're good, you just get the ball back and get out of the inning. And it's something that every coach that we brought on has harped on it, that once I find out that you're good enough, I'm trying to find out if I actually want to coach you, and how you act on the field, how you communicate with your coaches, how you communicate with your parents says a lot about you. And you need to be very cognizant of the fact that that is an important part of the process.
Yeah, I think the body language piece and what goes into being recruitable is huge. You know, I think sometimes, you know, there's things that happen in games and you're competing and there's things going on, like, you know, being able to stay present and being able to stay mentally tough in those situations will show coaches more about you than you could ever imagine that it will. And conversely, it goes the other way. Like, if we just continually have meltdowns and, you know, we blame, you know, I've seen pitchers, you know, give up a ball through the 6 hole and, you know, the shortstop makes an error and, you know, they throw their arms up and they're all mad. Like, yo, you're showing up your teammates. Like, you know, that's not going to fly, man. Like, you're being a bad teammate. Like, errors happen. Get the baseball back, pick him up and make a pitch. You know, this stuff happens in this game. No one's going to be flawless. You know, so I think the body language piece and how you act and carry yourself is huge, because you're constantly being watched and evaluated from that standpoint by college coaches, because they want to make sure that they're bringing in someone into their program who's going to fit their values and what it is that they're trying to do within their program. And if you don't fit that, they're just going to move on, because it's a big country. There's a lot of guys out there that you can recruit to that are going to fit your mold and fit the type of student athlete that you're looking to bring into your program for all the things it is that you believe in and want to do. You know, so you want to make sure that you're, you know, able to present that. And look, if you throw your helmet once, am I going to cross you off your list? No, I'm not. But if it's something where every time you get out, you just launch your helmet all the time, like, there's some immaturity and some things going on there that I don't know if that's what I want to bring into my program. You know, so obviously, like, it's a case by case basis, but, you know, the some of those things are tough to come back from.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the key examples is that when we were coaching, and we're on the flip side of it now, but when I would talk to a guy about a player, I'm usually not asking them what they thought of them. I'm usually asking, well, tell me about the kid. Like, does he practice well? Like, what's he like? Like, how's he act with his teammates? Like, is he a leader, or is he, you know, kind of a jokester? Like, talk to me about his personality. Like, how's he doing in school? Like, what's the relationship with mom and dad? Like, those are the things that coaches are going to drive at once they deem you being good enough. Like, that's what they're getting at. So they're going to ask those questions to your coaches. They're going to ask those questions. I mean, I've had college guys say, hey, can you get the football coach's number? I want to talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that myself. Like, you find out he's a two-sport athlete. Like, hey, I'm gonna go talk to the football guy, the basketball guy, and see what they have to say about him. Like, how do you do in a sport where you need to really operate with other individuals really well? Football, basketball, right? So just know that not only are coaches going to evaluate some of that character-related stuff when you're on the field, but you also need to do it when they're not looking, because you don't want somebody calling your coach and your coach is an honest dude and he says, hey, I think he's super talented, but he's really immature.
Mm-hmm.
And the good coaches out there are going to be honest with other coaches because they know they'll burn bridges if they're not. So if you're an ass in practice, or you don't want to show up on time, or you're a problem, like you said, there's a lot of really talented players out there, and coaches are going different directions. So, not only is it really important to be a good person and treat people with respect and, be a good teammate and do all that stuff because it's the right thing to do, right? Like, it's fundamentally the right thing to do. But you also need to recognize that if you don't do those things, not only are you being a bad teammate, but you're also killing your chances of getting recruited, because at a certain point, talent doesn't matter.
Yep.
Your character is going to be the difference. So for some guys, it happens a lot later. Some guys, it doesn't matter until they get to pro ball. And then guys go, yeah, we're just not dealing with your shit anymore. But for most high school kids, you want to stack the chips in your favor. One of the best ways to do it: play hard, play with good energy, treat people with respect, and be a really good teammate. And if you do those, you're probably the kid who reacts well to adversity on the field, because you're taking care of the other stuff pretty well. So don't think it doesn't go unnoticed. Don't think it's something that coaches don't evaluate. It's a big piece of it, especially once they've deemed you good enough to play at their level. They're going to try to figure out whether they actually want to coach you.
Right. And a lot of those things that they'll be able to pick up on, how you interact with, you hear everyone talk about it when we interview them, how they interact with their coaches, how they interact with teammates, mom and dad, umpires, things like that. Like it shows a window into the type of kid you are and what it is that you are going to bring into their program. And if it's going to be something that is going to cause more headaches than not, like, coaches are going to start to question like whether or not it's going to be worth continuing to recruit you, because they don't know if the juice is going to be worth the squeeze. Like, is this going to be a constant thing that I'm going to have to address day in and day out? Or is this something that, we can kind of nip in the bud now and get it out of the way, and hopefully this kid can mature. And look, like, everyone matures at a different rate. And sometimes it's going to take guys a little bit longer than others, but if there's if you're showing the ability to improve on it, coaches will pick up on that. But if it's the constant same thing over and over again, the bad body language, the showing up teammates, the, not necessarily being great with your coaches and things like that, like it's going to eventually come out, and I think the other part is like, how you interact with mom and dad is a big one too. Like I've said this before, like we had a kid that we were recruiting, and he showed up to campus, and the way he talked to his mother, like I wanted no part of bringing him into our program. Like if you're going to treat your parents, in a disrespectful way, then, the likelihood of you disrespecting me at some point in time is probably pretty high. And I don't want to deal with that, but two, I would just run you out of the program and tell you to turn your stuff in and never come back. So, I have a little, I don't think mom and dad can really do that. But I would, so it's that stuff too, the interactions and the body language that go along with it, just kind of reiterate what you've been saying. Like there's so much there's a lot to it, just on top of the baseball end of it, and where what your skill set is.
Perfectly said, Coach. I think we've accomplished our mission for this particular episode. Anything you want to add?
Be tough.
Yeah, being tough matters.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Was that Siri?
Apparently, Siri's listening in.
Siri in a podcast cameo.
Damn you, Steve Jobs.
No big deal.
All right. On that note, thanks everybody for listening this week. We'll catch you next week. Subscribe on YouTube. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter for some content. And you want to find out more about what we do to help families, hit us up on the interwebs, emdbaseball.com. Hammer the like button. Thanks, everybody. Throttle.